Hi, I'm here to talk about Pedro Pascal.
Our cool slutty daddy.
Our cool slutty daddy.
Oh my god. You have a full cast?
Okay, compose yourself. Everybody stay calm!
I had a mental breakdown.
Little cheeky fuckers.
Am I dreaming? Because I can't see, I can't read.
Are the road Carl days behind us?
I'm going to talk about Jose Antonio Francisco.
You are listening to the Quinn-tessentials podcast.
Hi.
Hi.
Hello. Welcome to a new era.
Hello.
Dun, dun, dun. Can you believe it?
I can't, but I have a question for you, Laura.
Okay.
I need your honest opinion about something.
I always give those, I think.
How about those Chiefs? That's what I thought.
Oh, you didn't say anything about it yesterday or today, and I was like, did they lose? Because I'm surprised that you've been saving it. You've been saving it.
Yes.
Got it. Okay, got it.
I don't know if you're aware or not, but we're going to the Super Bowl.
Anyways, I have to root for the Eagles just because they're teal.
It's your color.
If you are in a different country or if you don't pay attention to sports, Danielle's hometown team is going to the Super Bowl. They beat my hometown team last week, so I took that very personally, but it's okay.
There's always next year, babes.
You know what? We took it way further this year than I thought we would, so I was very happy with it. And I guess if we were going to lose to any team, I'm happy that it was yours. Not because of them, but because it's you.
Thank you. We do. Very sweet. We do have the Kelsey Bowl this year. You know, each team has a Kelsey brother on the team.
Do they? I didn't know that.
First time in history. Yeah. Both the Kelsey brothers.
What are the other two brothers that were in the NFL that are super famous?
The Brady brothers?
No,
the Brady brothers. The Brady Bunch.
My God, he was like, they called him the sheriff. He like retired. He was like the greatest person before Tom Brady. One of them played for the Colts and then the...
Yes, I know, and I can't think of their names, and everybody's going to be like...
the Nationwide commercials?
Yes.
Yes. Everybody's yelling at their radios, right? Their radios.
Everybody except the international... Jesus Christ.
I have no idea.
Oh my God. It's gonna it starts with a P. Peyton Manning.
Peyton Manning.
Peyton and Eli. God damn it.
Anyway, I just needed to rub it in your face just a little bit.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
This is exciting.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
First of all, I want to preface this real quick. I want to talk about Joseph briefly and then pivot. I want to roast us a little bit. We removed this part from the episode from last week, but I do have to make a little bit of fun of us because Shannon, have your moment. Go ahead. Have your moment.
Well, so I was like, so hoard is about hoarding, right? And they're like, what? No, it's about zombies. And I was like, oh my God, really? Holy crap. So then now I'm convinced it's like a zombie movie. So I'm like super excited. And then it's not. It ends up actually being a hoarding movie. So...
Not the hair flip.
The helicopter hair.
So the whole time I'm sitting here and I'm like, yep, it's about a horde of zombies. The Last of Us is going to open the door for zombies. That's why the movie's going to come out in 2023. And like before you know it, we get a DM from somebody on our TikTok account. They're like, hey, ladies, just listen to the episode. I love it so much. By the way.
Bless you. Her name is Diana. And this sweet gem of a woman was so sweet and made sure to tell us how much she loves our podcast and our new intro. And she made sure to say she didn't want to be that person. But we appreciate you being that person because not only did she let us know Shannon was right, she also gave us the synopsis of the movie Hoard, which is in fact about hoarding.
And in fact, a horde of zombies is spelled like World of Warcraft horde, which is HORDE.
And hoarding
The A
is spelled
dead
the
giveaway.
title, the way the title of the movie is spelled. God, listen, my thing is, you know what's so fucking funny about this? When I read the plot of the movie, I saw what it said. It said the story of a mother and a daughter going through the difficulties of blah, 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 right? And the whole time I'm like, weird. There's no mention of zombies here.
How are you going to tie that in?
I'm like, I can't wait to see them pop out.
You know, we really pride ourselves on fact checking literally everything that comes out of our mouth. I think subconsciously we wanted Joe to be in a zombie movie. And no matter how much, because Shannon tried to push it a few times in that episode. She's like, no, I really think it's about hoarding. And we're like, no, Shannon, you're wrong. It's about zombies.
You're like, absolutely not. How dare you think of that? Oh man, I felt so stupid. Anyway, so last week I'm like, you guys, we have to do it. It was like a 25-second interaction last week, and it was really easy to remove. But leading up to that decision of just removing that bit, the whole time I was like, what are we gonna do? That's that. You know, thanks for sticking around. Thank you, Diana. Joseph, I'm sorry. We didn't need to roast ourselves about it. But you know what? We are here to have a good laugh because not every person is perfect, and we certainly are not.
We are far from it.
For all we knew, it could have been a combination. Can you imagine a horde of hoarders?
Hello?
Oh my God. Could you imagine how messy that would be? A horde of hoarders.
Like you need to throw that away. They're like, no, I need this one day. Like all of that? No.
Think about it though.
Yeah.
A horde hoarding zombies.
How many hordes can hoard hordes if a horde could hoard hordes?
Amazing. That is on marketing. I love it. I wanted to talk about that, and then I also briefly wanted to touch on Joseph's birthday.
Yes, our sweet baby angel.
So one of the things I want to point out, we put out that episode on his birthday, right? The whole time I'm thinking to myself, what if it's not his fucking birthday? Like the whole internet was like, maybe he's just full of shit. Maybe he's like having a laugh and telling people his birthday is January 26th. What if it's not? But we had confirmation.
Olivier.
I'm so fucking happy.
Olivier.
January 26th. I think they celebrated it on Friday. A friend of his posted a picture of him next to like a large piece of steak. Solid.
Yeah.
Yes.
Looks good.
Solid. Impeccable. So I'm glad they had a great time.
The first thing I didn't notice was the steak. I noticed Joe just going like, oh, we're taking a picture. Hey.
Well, at first I was like so upset. I was like, who is taking photos of Joseph right in his face? They're not even being discreet about it. He totally. And then I saw it said my babe, and I was like, oh, okay, it's a friend. Got it.
That's so cute. Does that mean him and his bros call each other babe? I love that.
I can hope so.
It's kind of like in Shaun of the Dead. He's like, thanks, babe. Like,
Babe.
is that like a thing? I love that.
I hope so.
So sweet.
I want to kind of get into the new era of the Quinn-tessentials podcast. Are you ready?
Tell us about it, babe.
Babe.
And I posted a brief video about it. I filled up the 3-minute slot on TikTok because I don't shut up. But we have always known in order to keep this podcast growing, we have to be able to branch out, correct?
Yes.
Correct.
And it's definitely something that when we first talked about it, we're like, I don't want to picture a day when I'm not talking about Joseph. But, you know, the whole time we knew that we had to try something a little bit different. And so here we are. We're trying something different. We are branching out. We're always going to talk about Joseph. We're always going to do Joseph updates and Joseph dedicated episodes when big things happen, but we got to try doing something a little different. And so with that, our episodes are going to be dedicated to different actors, males, females, non-binary people, all of which fall into what we have discussed in the beginning of the show, and it's the female gaze. What makes that person so special in the eyes of a female? Or really, not really a female, but in the female gaze category. And we had to start with somebody that's so fucking cool, in my opinion. Somebody who's been around for a bit. Somebody who is going mega viral right now.
Yeah.
And it's somebody none other than the world's cool slutty daddy. Pedro Pascal.
Or the full name is Jose Pedro. Shit. Hold on. It is Jose Pedro Balmaceda Pascal.
Almacida?
Balmaceda. So Seda. Ceda.
Balmaceda.
Pascal. He's from Chile.
Oh, is he Chilean?
He's Chilean.
He's always going to be my cool slutty daddy.
What do we say? I have no idea where to start with him.
He's a trip. He has such unique features that really make him super handsome and kind of exotic in that way. But then once he opens his mouth, you're like, what else is this man gonna say next? Like, I don't know. He's like unpredictable and funny, and I just love that about him.
I've never seen anybody lean in so hard into his era. You know what I mean? Like, Joseph very much was in the Joseph Quinn era, but he was kind of like very British about it, right? Very humble.
He
very,
just
like,
dipped his toes in a little bit.
Yeah,
Whereas,
exactly.
like, Pedro has fully cannonballed into his era.
Yes.
He's like, I'm here. I'm ready to party. Let's fucking do this.
And I love it. You know why? It's giving that he's been in this industry for a long time, waiting for his career to take off like this. And he's finally done it. And he's like, I didn't think it was going to happen for me at this age, but guess what? We're fucking here. We're turning up. We're having a great fucking time. And that's it. I mean, I am about it. He has this aura about him. And it's not your traditional Latin man aura. You know what I mean?
Right.
It is an aura of like just a good time. I'm obsessed with him. One of the things about Pedro Pascal that I'm so excited about is somebody out there did what we did and started a podcast about him. And it's called Pedro Pascal. And
I love it. I love it so much.
So good. So if you don't think that one episode dedicated to Pedro Pascal is enough, go listen to Pedro Pascal.
Their episodes go back as far as 2021. And they talk about each of his work in each episode, and they're a good chunk of time to listen. So
I mean, if this route doesn't work out for us, talking about multiple people, we could always just reach out and say, how do you talk about the same man every single episode? And maybe they can give us some pointers. And we'll just revert back to what we know.
I think it's going to be great. I think this is going to be wonderful.
I listened to a few of their episodes. I love hearing what we're doing coming from somebody else.
Yeah.
And then I understand what our listeners are meaning when they say, it's just like listening to your friends talk about a guy that you like. And I found myself kind of feeling like that whenever I listened to a few of their episodes. And they really do. They go into his work and just, I love it. They do a very good job.
Can I make a quick parentheses real quick? This is completely unrelated, but Danielle, everything about you right now is giving like, honestly, Pedro Pascal energy.
Thank you so much. That's the best compliment I've gotten in a very long,
long
time.
It's giving like, I'm here, I'm fabulous, I have a great backdrop.
it's like, welcome to my show. My name's Danielle.
She's like, I'm your cool slutty mommy.
Oh.
Okay, daddy.
Ooh.
Roles are reversed.
So what is it about Pedro that you guys are drawn to otherwise, like, about him? Is it mainly like his personality, the way he carries himself, his confidence? Is it just like, what is it exactly?
I'll go first. As you guys all know, I'm very loud. I'm very extroverted. And so the first thing that typically draws me to someone is their personality and their charisma, their sense of humor. Immediately, like, if you can make me laugh, sign still delivered. Like, I am obsessed with you. Being carefree comes so easily to him.
Right.
And he's so funny. So that is the main thing that really drew me to him. It's because at any given moment, like you said, Shannon, at the beginning of the episode, you never know what's going to come out of his mouth. I mean, this man literally has redefined the word daddy and zaddy and cool slutty daddy. And we're just like, yes, Pedro, give us more. We love it.
Did you see the interview that he did where somebody was like, this man, and they were talking about Oscar Isaac. They're like, do you think you or him is a bigger daddy? And he was like, well, he's a real daddy.
Because he has kids.
Right, because he has kids. I know. But being the daddy is not about being a father. It's a state of mind. And then he goes,
amen.
In the sexiest, most confident way, he goes, I'm your daddy.
Oh.
Yes, sir.
Hello?
I had the audacity to show the interview to my boyfriend, and he just looks at me like, and I'm just like, look.
The biggest thing, though, for me, for Pedro, is his love he has for his younger co-stars. I have never seen a non-dad play such a good dad in a dad situation. The way that he is with Bella, is her name, in The Last of Us, like, you would think that they are actual father-daughter. I will say it because the whole internet has said it. Somebody give this man a child. But you know what I mean? Like, it's just so natural for him. For somebody that's not a dad, like, you would think he has 17 children at home.
I would like to crop those moments in conventions wherein Joseph had those like interactions with the younger fans. I would like to see the equivalent of that with Pedro Pascal.
Yeah.
Truly.
Thank you for the edit idea.
I'm just saying. Put it out there into the universe. I want to see that moment of like somebody saying, "Can I give you a hug?" And then he goes, "You want to snuggle? You want to cuddle?"
Consider it done. Ask and you shall receive.
I feel like Pedro has like almost an uncle vibe. Like he's definitely like the cool uncle. He's like
Uncle.
Funkle, yes, indeed. For sure. Did you guys see that picture of him? He's like going out to like his car and he's in like a loose t-shirt and then basketball shorts and everyone's going wild and like he looks like he rolled out of fucking bed. Women are like, ah.
I mean, and that's the thing, right? Is the biggest difference that people I lost it. It came and went, honestly. My thought was there and then it
Well,
bounced right
it
back
means
out.
that I think maybe you were going to say something along the lines of like women don't have this standard of like how like men need a painted woman that doesn't look painted and has to look perfect without trying. And then literally this man rolls out of bed and walks outside and we're like, ah, like there's that comparison is like, does it really take that much effort to impress a woman in that way because of that? You know, is that what you're trying to say?
100%. You completely nailed that. And the other thing I was going to say is if it were anybody else doing that, no, like I'll put it this way. I'm not exactly the biggest fan of the Paul brothers, right? Logan and Jake Paul.
Okay.
If I were to see Logan and Jake Paul, like, thank you. If I were to see them like in basketball shorts and a flowy t-shirt out and about in a parking lot, I was like, don't want to talk to you. But it's because of what we know of Pedro Pascal, the way he just carries himself, the way that we know he is as a person. And it's the same fucking rules that apply to Joe, right? Joseph could be minding his own business and be like, oh my God, you joke like Coco, we're so proud of you. Like,
oh my God, look at Joe breathing over there. He's just so good looking.
You're doing great, sweetie. And so
existing.
But the thing is, and I've noticed this, a lot of these people are setting the tone for how they want to be talked about, right? Joseph is a very humble, very seemingly conservative person whenever he's out and about, very private, right? And so we treat him as such. You know, we talk about his work, the thing that's actually going on out there, and, you know, things that he allows for people to see. Pedro is a full-on fucking party. And I am telling you right now, I'm not saying I would pry or anything of the sort. I'm just saying he is saying, I'm your cool, slutty daddy. Joseph would never say that. And so we start treating him as such. We start treating him as our cool, slutty daddy.
He consented.
That is the name of the game. Consent. It is a consensual slutty daddy, slutty baby relationship.
Yeah.
Oh my
I think we'll just end this little segment on, I personally just have a thing for men that seem attainable to me. Joe and Pedro both seem very attainable to me.
Right. Like,
and it's not even on like that type of relationship type of level. It's, I could bump into these men, hit it off with them, and become friends. Whereas your typical conventional superstar that's out there these days, I don't think I would have the same reaction if I bumped into, say, Brad Pitt or George Clooney. I would be very intimidated. I would be starstruck, which we all know how I was with Joe, but you know what I mean? It's like you immediately got comfortable. And I have a thing for men that are attainable. Okay.
Isn't that perfect for the female gaze? Truly.
Yes.
And I think we've talked about this. The biggest difference between the female gaze and the male gaze is society as a whole, right, has been written through the lens of a man, right? Men have written the laws, men have determined wars, men have ruled countries, men have directed movies, men have written books, all of this stuff. And as time has gone on, women have found their voice and their place in society in a more equal tone. And they're saying, no, we don't want what you think we want. We're going to tell you what we want. And that's why all of these guys and non-binary people and women are popping up left and right. People that would never have gone viral 20, even 10 years ago, you know?
Right.
Because looks was such a important thing. Let's go through filmography. I want to talk about his characters. Are you ready?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Each of us, let's start with what we first saw him in. Mine was Game of Thrones.
Me too.
Same.
And he played Oberyn Martell.
From Dorne.
From Dorne.
Woof.
Oh, he had like hundreds of bastard children. And he was, in fact, a cool, slutty.
He loved it all. He wanted to get down and dirty all the time. That was Oberyn. And
Take off your clothes.
Take off your clothes.
Spoiler alert. All the stuff we're going to talk about is going to be spoiled. Be forewarned.
Considered it past its expiration date.
The only thing we're not going to spoil is probably going to be The Last of Us because it's very fresh.
Yeah.
Very new.
Very new.
And we are not going to be doing any spoilers for that. But anything else that we've seen, he's been in for a while. So if you haven't seen it, you know, this is your spoiler alert. I loved him as Oberyn Martell. My thing about it is gone too soon.
Yeah.
R.I.P.
R.I.P. And the thing is, I should have expected it. And if you didn't watch Game of Thrones, his character went in a fight with a character called the Mountain, which was played by the third strongest man at the time.
Now he's the strongest man.
He was like in a fight scene with him, and he was fighting on behalf of Tyrion Lannister, played by Peter Dinklage. I mean, this was in season 4. It was such a cool character, so smooth. When you're watching this fight, and you think he's gonna make it through the fight, but
He doesn't.
in true Game of Thrones fashion, this is why we can't have nice things. Oberyn was one of the nicest things in that show.
Amen. Because he was a very good part of Game of Thrones for me.
Yeah. He was slowing down the mountain because he had his little spear thing he was fighting with was dipped with poison. So he was just trying to be quick enough to get enough poison in the mountain to bring him down.
Well, and so the thing about it is, like, that whole fight, I'm watching it, I'm like, he's gonna win. He's gonna, like, they wrote that scene so well.
Yeah.
They were like, we want the people to relax. And then, right as they think it's gonna end, let's switch to the guards. We're gonna flip the script completely, and not only are we gonna kill his fucking character, we're gonna crush his literal fucking skull.
Yeah.
Yep.
They demolished his face. Gone. Obliterated.
It became like a
Traumatizing.
watermelon, and a toothless watermelon.
Yeah.
I have a question. Riddle me this. Why do we have such a connection with people that die in literally everything that we watch?
Because we cling to the tragedy.
That's true.
Because of good
That's
writing.
true.
Think about it. They want you to connect with the person. That way you feel something when they go.
I'm sick of this, Grandpa. But
That's
I'm
too damn bad.
I don't know how much more my heart can take.
Well, did anybody else go through this whenever we were watching the fight? Whenever he's trying to talk about Liliana Martell or whatever, he's like trying to get him to say her name and be like, you killed her, you raped her, admit, confess to it, confess. Like the whole time he's attacking the mountain, this is happening.
Yeah.
And the whole time in my head, all I think about, my name is Inigo Montoya. You killed my father. Prepare to die. And then Shannon tells me a really cool thing about this.
Yes, he actually played him, that same character. So it was in 2020. It says home movie The Princess Bride. So it was a TV series, actually. Said episode chapter 2, The Shrieking Eels. So he played Inigo Montoya only a couple years ago.
Wow.
It's a small world after all.
Imagine that. I can't see anybody else playing Inigo Montoya in a modern day rendition of Princess Bride.
Yeah.
Besides Pedro.
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
We don't want any of it. Don't
Nope.
ever change.
Nope.
We don't need any
So-
more remakes.
From Oberyn Martell,
R.I.P.
R.I.P. He goes on to play another iconic character, and we'll go through his movies, but I kind of want to touch a little bit on his TV and then go through movies. From Oberyn Martell, he goes on to probably the biggest role he's ever had. He plays Mando. He's the Mandalorian, which when I saw that shit and I watched him and I realized he was a Mandalorian, I was so mind blown. And he's incredible in it. But I watched an interview during a panel that he did where they asked him what it was like when he found out he got the role. And so he said that he was going to some type of meeting. There were like storyboards about what the premise of the Mandalorian was going to be, right? And in this, he's like looking at it. He's so excited. He's always been a really big Star Wars fan. And he goes, oh my gosh, who do you want me to play? Do you want me to play like the village guy? Do you want me to play this like creature? He's looking at these supporting roles or even cameos. And the producers and the creators of the show are like, no, we want you to be the Mandalorian. And so when he tells that story, he gets so emotional and he tells that story with so much passion. I cry every time I see that. I get emotional even now thinking about it. I'm like, fuck yeah, man. Like that story just warms my heart.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but
I'm sorry. I just Grogu wanted to say hi. Continue, Danielle.
Grogu, the baby. I remember because I didn't watch Mandalorian right away. My dad was the big Star Wars fan growing up, and Danielle, you've got to watch this. They've got this guy playing this other guy, and blah blah blah. And I was like, yeah, dad, I'll get around to it. But getting back to my point, I feel like wasn't it kept kind of a secret who the Mandalorian was for a while, like, if I remember?
Yeah, questioning and like, oh my God, it's this guy, and I feel like nobody expected Pedro Pascal to be under that helmet. Nope.
It was like this huge thing.
And then that's what drew me to it because I'm like, it's kind of like The Masked Singer. I'm like, I'm going to figure this out.
Yes.
But he also came out in an interview and said that the reason why a lot of people didn't recognize his voice right away is because the voice of Mondo, right? Yes.
Yeah.
He said that's because that's my bedroom voice. And I said, excuse me, what? I said, that was very unnecessary.
What?
Even Grogu can't handle that. I mean, he's deceased.
Send him back. A child. He is a literal child.
He's a little chicken nugget. And his daddy is up there being a daddy with his bedroom voice. The audacity of that man to just sprinkle that in there when we finally found out who it was after playing an amazing character. I think they released it going into second season, didn't they?
Yeah.
Or like when the face reveal happened, and I am drawing a blank as to when that happened. But like the whole world was like, what?
Yeah.
Escusi?
I completely forgot that it was such a mystery of like who had played Mando.
Oh,
but
look at him
I only made it through the first season of that show. I meant to continue watching. It's a great show. Amazing. But for some reason, I don't know, things just keep popping up. You know what the worst thing is when you're trying to watch a show? If you don't watch the seasons as they come out, then you have even more to catch up on and you're like, oh, you know.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So most recently, he has been cast as Joel in The Last of Us, which is a TV show on HBO. He's back to HBO. It's a TV show based on a video game.
Based off of zombies.
But it's
sorta.
So interesting because it's about like it's more of about a virus, like a fungus virus.
Bacterial fungi. Yes.
Yeah. Parasitic, yeah. So basically they stress that a parasitic fungi can't invade humans. That's not a thing. Because, you see how they've done it with insects and animals, but that's how they were saying how, like, well, what if the planet heats up and then the fungus actually, like, develops and changes and evolves and then it can invade humans because it can now survive in that human temperature. And then I'm sitting there looking at my boyfriend like, this shit could really happen. And he's like, yeah. That's what makes it so real.
Yeah.
It's fucking terrifying to watch.
Yeah.
I've played The Last of Us.
I watched my boyfriend play too.
Not great. Not all the way. Like,
so
I was terrible at it, but I played it from the beginning to the very end. And when I got a whiff that they were going to finally make a TV show out of this, I had so many people popping into my head on who I think should play Joel.
Yeah.
And when I found out that it was Pedro, I was like, shut the front door. I never put those two together.
Right.
But now that I've seen the 2 episodes, we have not seen the 3rd episode yet. So, But now that I've seen him as Joel, I can't see anyone else playing him.
Who did you fan cast prior to knowing it was Pedro?
God. There was a few people. So one of the first people that I casted in my mind to play Joel, of all things, is the guy that plays the Lannister in Game of Thrones.
Jamie?
The brother lover. Yes. In my mind, when I would hear Joel's voice, I imagined him.
Wow. Oh.
Imagine that.
And honestly, the jawline, Joel in the game had a really sharp jawline, and so does.
Yep. Yeah.
I love it.
But yeah, there's a couple more, but that's the first one that really I thought of and it stuck with me. But yeah, it was Jaime Lannister from the Game of Thrones. Forgive me that I can't remember his real name, but yeah. But now that I've seen him as Joel, I can't think of anybody else, which is probably why I couldn't remember that, because this is Joel. Pedro is Joel. Joel is Pedro.
Yeah.
Joel is Pedro. That's it. Game over.
There's
nobody else.
He's already shown so much range in 2 episodes.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like cold, closed off, mean, and then happy, funny, beloved, heartbroken, scared, like everything already.
The range.
The range.
We love our boys with their acting ranges.
Yes.
Speaking of range, I think we skipped over a really big show that he was in that Shannon has spent quite a bit of time watching.
Well, a little bit.
He watched the first few episodes, but like, right? He was in Narcos. He played Detective Javier Peña.
Javier Peña, yes.
Peña, which, by the way, Peña's my second last name, so like I was like so excited.
You guys are related or something.
Oh my god.
Must be.
So the first episode of Narcos kind of just folds out everything about Pedro's partner. They're both DAs getting the cartels. So they just pretty much introduce Pedro in the first episodes. And then the second episode, they reintroduce him in a lovemaking scene. And I'm like, what? It was like, yeah. I was like, this is a lot more of Pedro than I've ever seen, even in Game of Thrones.
Well, it's so funny that you mentioned that, because somebody on TikTok had posted about it, and they were like, season 1, episode 2, minute 19 or minute 20 and 4 seconds, and I was like, I gotta find this out. I went looking for it, and it was just like him in an office, and an officer coming up to him and saying, put me in, coach. And I was like, whatever, it's not that exciting. And then Shannon talks about it again, and I was like, am I missing something? So then I go back, I watch it, still the same scene, and then I realize I've been watching season 2 the whole fucking time. And then I go back to season 1, I'm like, oh.
But I haven't gotten too far into it just yet, but I can tell that he's got a really good character. I love hearing him speak in Spanish. The show is predominantly in Spanish. Even though the head DA guy is American, there's a lot of Spanish. And, you know, I only pick up on a word or two. I have to read the subtitles when I'm watching it. But, like, I love listening to his Spanish. It's so beautiful.
Amazing. Well, I can't wait to watch it. There is people that, like, have always told me about this show, that they're like, this is the greatest show on television. You've got to watch it. If you like Breaking Bad, you're going to love Narcos. And I am sure I will. For some reason, Pablo Escobar just was not really something that really stood out to me. Maybe now I will. Maybe now I have a little motivation to watch it.
It's kind of funny and interesting to kind of learn how he did it, how he surpassed all the other cartels and just became like such a front row.
Right.
Like, he literally looked like a good politician in the eyes of the people. They had no idea he was a drug cartel, like, leader. It was insane. He had so much money, they were burying it. Like, it's freaking insane. I was only 4 episodes in, and I'm like,
I want to find, like, one of those burial sites. Just one. I don't need...
And they were talking about treasure hunters, people trying to find that money.
I would, yeah, okay.
Literally.
Me next!
Can I also mention that back in 2001, he played Shane Dio Morrissey on NYPD Blue, and he played a Satanist, and it was so cool seeing him look like a punk rock kid. I was like,
okay, I love that.
There's about like a 10-minute clip on YouTube if you want to see it, but yeah, he plays, he's super villain, like, but it's still like it's a young Pedro, and it's still hot. I don't care how bad he is.
It was really cool to see him in Wonder Woman 1984 as like the villain, because he pulled the like charismatic, like wealthy guy who was like trying to get into oil and stuff like that, who gets like consumed by power. It's like that. It was funny because like to me it was like a very realistic, like the things that could happen to somebody who gets thrust into power way too quickly. Like the metaphor of his character was absolutely fucking phenomenal. Mm-hmm. It's about greed and wanting more power and all that at the expense of everybody. period. He obviously had his like redemption arc. He had like a moment where he was able to, you know, make the right decision and save everybody and all that good stuff. So he was kind of a villain, but then like ended up not being so much of like a bad guy. It was like a villain with a heart, right? Like a villain with a conscience. I want to see him like a villain. Like I want to fucking hate him, you know? Because I feel like he would be absolutely fantastic in one of those roles.
I feel like we also have a villain complex because every person we've talked about so far, we want to see them play a villain.
You know what?
We just like those bad boys.
Next episode, we're going to do a villain. We're going to do somebody who's played several villains. We don't know who it is yet. No idea. But
we normally decide this on like Wednesday of the following week.
I feel like deciding it was going to be Pedro Pascal was like so easy. Such an easy decision. But man, I tell you what, this whole thing was, so fun. You had seen him, Danielle and Shannon, in Kingsman.
I did.
Please tell me about this. I haven't seen it.
He is Agent Whiskey. He is your Southern charming, lasso yielding, whip slaying cowboy agent.
Yes.
And he plays this role so well, like scary well. How quickly he just was like, hey, y'all.
He played it like a fiddle, I'll tell you what.
Tell you what?
He wasn't a villain in this?
Yeah, he ended up being a villain at the end, yes.
Oh.
Yeah. So he charmed everybody's pants off, and he had this redemption arc of like losing his significant other. I'm not sure if they were just dating or if they were married, and he was part of this agency. The Kingsman is based in the UK, and then there's one in America, and he's part of this team, which also stars Channing Tatum and Halle Berry. So he ends up charming everybody's pants off and getting everybody on their side. But then Colin Firth is like, nah, there's something about this boy. Like there's something off about him.
A little suspicious.
And nobody believed him. Taron Egerton is in this as well. Like there are so many good people in this movie. I forgot Colin Firth was in Kingsman in general. And I love Colin Firth. I love him. I want to replace Dennis Quaid with Colin Firth.
As you're over 40?
Can I do that?
Thank you. Yeah, because man,
I saw him come on the screen in this movie and I was reawoken. I said, I have made a mistake.
I made a mistake. I like
But towards the end, he ended up being the bad guy, and I was here for it.
That finale fight was so good, and the way they kill him at the end, I was just like,
was it a
killed him by a meat grinder?
All the way in, too, boy.
All the way in. Shoved him into a meat grinder.
Head first.
Yep. In a diner.
I should have done a spoiler warning for myself. Oh wait, I did.
Oh, should we remind them what he says to Halle Berry's character Ginger Ale when he loses his memory?
Go right on ahead, girl, because I know you're itching to do it.
So what does he say? How would you like to ride a real cowboy? I got some cold ones on ice, and my roomies are out all night, so you can scream as loud as you need to, sugar.
He is a daddy. But,
very cool and very slutty. I like that.
One thing I will tell you is he was actually on Jimmy Fallon promoting the Golden Circle. Jimmy had asked Pedro, tell me about your lasso skills. He's like, can you actually like lasso? And he was like, absolutely not. He goes, that is all CGI. And he goes, so this? And he's just doing this. He's like, this is all I had to do. And they just added a CGI lasso to it.
Damn.
Just a flick of the wrist. But then the whip skills that he does in the movie, 100% Pedro. He got up on Jimmy and whipped it a few times, and I'm like, yes!
Oh!
Yes!
I said whip it!
Whip it real good.
Wow.
But yeah.
Goodness.
I love a good, I love a good comedy villain. Like, honestly, especially the ones that kind of come out of nowhere and you're like, okay, sir.
Yes.
I was here for it.
I just want to mention that Prospect is really good. It's a very similar dynamic with Ellie and Joel in The Last of Us.
Yeah.
And I will say spoiler if you don't want to hear this, he has to get his arm amputated, and she does it. And you see him grieve his arm. Like, while she's just chomping away, he's just sitting there going through like the 7 stages of losing your arm in his face. It is like the best performance of any amputation on screen that I've ever seen. I swear, it was so good. So if you want to see that, you don't really see anything though.
If I made it through 127 hours, which is a movie about a guy who has to amputate his own arm, I can watch it.
Oh, I remember that movie. Yeah.
What we've learned today is that we have to watch all of these Pedro Pascal movies just to really get a full appreciation of his range and how all around great he is. And also, like, can we talk about, I think he has like top 10 greatest interview personalities. Like, I always love to see his personality shine through in interviews because he just does so fucking well in them. And I mean, granted, a lot of celebrities do, but to me, 10 out of 10. I mean,
100%.
they're so fucking entertaining to watch. Like, he just works that interviewer to his favor every single time. And I can't get enough of it.
Yeah, do yourself a favor and go to YouTube and do the Wired autocomplete interview. And he has one with his bestie, Oscar Elliott. Just
Isaac.
check it out. Do yourself a favor. It's so good.
Oscar Isaac.
Fuck.
No, we're keeping that in. Because you made it all the way
Oscar
through
Isaac.
the end. We love Oscar Isaac, but not as much as we love you, Danielle.
We love you. They have such a great bromance, him and Oscar. I think they were in a movie together, and not only that, but they are both in the Star Wars universe. So
Yes.
I love that.
At two different
both-
points in time, but yes, they are in the Star Wars universe together.
I'm living for it. First of all, can we give a shout out to the new inclusivity we're getting out of Star Wars? Because like 10 out of 10. But I love the fact that both of these guys are like BFFs and they've managed to enter the Star Wars universe and they've been in a movie together, right? Do we remember what the movie was? It was like a war movie.
Oh, so they've actually been friends way before that movie. The duo met before they were famous when they appeared in an off-Broadway play together in 2005.
Wow.
So that's cool. I didn't know that. But they were in, it's Triple Frontier is the movie where it's is that the war movie you were talking about, Danielle, earlier?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And it looks like it's on Netflix, y'all.
So you know what's so crazy to me, truly? Up until I saw that interview of them saying like, who's this guy? And he's like, oh, that's Oscar Isaac. Is he a daddy or are you a bigger daddy? I had never associated the two of them together, but the two of them always gave me like the same energy. Do you know what I mean? Like you always picture somebody and then immediately in the back of your head, somebody else pops up, almost like you can just tell they're such kindred spirits.
Yeah. I feel like Pedro brings out the child in Oscar, kind of like how Jamie brings out the child in Joe.
I love that.
It's like a similar comparison.
Oh my God. Wait, is Oscar the Joseph to Pedro's Jamie?
Yes, I think so.
Wow.
Do you know who else is Pedro's best friend?
Me.
Sarah Paulson.
Yes!
They're like lifelong besties.
That's crazy.
Like forever.
Love Sarah Paulson.
So I actually fell down a rabbit hole because I watched an interview where he was talking about, he got asked, is there an outfit choice that you've worn to a red carpet that you just completely and utterly regret?
I love it.
And he goes, I know exactly which one I'm going to talk about. I went to this award ceremony and I was on the red carpet with Sarah Paulson and I was in this denim like shirt. Yes. And he goes, I went to go meet up with her while she was getting her makeup done. She looked over and she goes, you're wearing that? And she's like dressed to the nines and he's on this red carpet in like a button-up denim shirt and he's like, I hated every second of it. But they've been besties for like ever. They go to like red carpets together. They go to parties together. I love it.
Incredible.
Of all people.
Fucking incredible. Wow. I'm looking at this. Pedro looks amazing in this picture though. Like I don't care what anybody says.
Yeah, he looks so
He
handsome
looks
in that.
so good. That jawline, baby.
That jawline,
Wow.
baby.
This is an old photo of him and Sarah.
Yeah. I was just looking at that.
Look at the babies.
How do we feel? We feel good?
Yeah.
How do you feel, Dee?
I feel fucking fantastic.
Anyways, we love Pedro. We love Oscar Isaac and Sarah Paulson. And yeah.
We really hope that you guys enjoyed this little journey that we've been on.
Yeah.
Definitely sound off in, our comments and our DMs and give us ideas of who else you think we should talk about. I mean, we of course always miss our main man, Joseph, but we're going to fill our hearts in these downtimes with other amazing men, women, they, thems. We're just going to have the best time.
We're going to have a great time. And we're glad you're here. We're glad you're fucking here. Come back. Let's hang out. Let's do this bitch again. And
another one.
Stay tuned for next week's guy. And hopefully we'll talk a little bit more about what Joe's been up to in case we get a little appearance. A little bit of social media. I'll go first since I don't usually. I am on TikTok and Instagram as Laura Vanessa. Laura with an H at the end, Vanessa with an H at the end. Danielle.
Hi. My TikTok is DEEE Young. My Instagram is Miss Danielle, DANYELL. The podcast TikTok is the Quinn Podcast. And then the podcast Twitter and Instagram is the Quinn Pod.
Yay! And Chanel.
Greetings. I am What's Up Shannon on TikTok and Starry Eyes STARRYYEYES on Instagram.
Yes, babies. Thank you so much. We fucking love you. Come back next week. Let us know what you thought of this. This is a new format. I think what we'll do next, we'll get creative with it. We're gonna do some games, quotes, same shit, different character, different personality. So we're just so excited that you get to do this with us. And please DM us. If you have any feedback, we'd love to talk and see what you thought. If you have any suggestions, you know where to find us.
Woo.
I think that should also be our new tagline. Same shit, different character.
Same shit, different character. Boom.
Same shit, different daddy.
Yes.
Or mommy.
Or non-binary parent.
We're here for everybody.
Same shit, different
I love you
parental
all.
figure. Okay.
Bye.
Bye.